Our top focus, the Director Generals of Military Operations from India as well as Pakistan met at the Waga-Atari border for the first time since the Kargil war. The meeting comes as the two sides attempt to reduce tensions following a spate of cross-border terror attacks from Pakistan, which violated ceasefire as many as 250 times this year alone. Now, what India has told Pakistan is that it must ensure peace and tranquility along the line of control. Pakistan should not violate sanctity of the ceasefire along LoC.
Cordial, constructive and a fruitful meeting. We discussed the ceasefire along the line of control and the existing mechanisms. We both decided to ensure ceasefire and strengthen existing mechanisms. Thank you.
Joining us on the phone line is Manaman Chima from the ground. Also joining us from the newsroom is Editor Strategic Affairs Gaurav Sawant. Manaman, first up to you. After 14 long years comes a key Pakistan-India Army commanders meeting. Is this the first step towards a much-needed winter thaw?
Well, absolutely. It was high time after these repeated incursions across the border, across the line of control by border action teams supported by the Pakistan Army. It was high time that the Indian government took the matters a step ahead than the weekly phone calls that the two DGMOs exchange in routine. And therefore, it was perhaps decided at the level of the two Prime Ministers that the DGMOs should physically meet. And the Indian Army would have grasped this opportunity with both hands in order to point out and bring forward evidence in support of the conclusive facts which they have, that Pakistan Army has been transgressing the line of control, it has been violating the sanctity and conducting raids and trying to inflict damage on Indian soldiers.
Manaman, do stay with me. Gaurav is also joining us live from the newsroom. Gaurav, what are the key issues that this meet is addressing?
This is, as Manaman was telling us, an extremely significant meeting and one where India is actually holding the Pakistan Army accountable. Pakistan was desperately trying to wriggle out of this. Pakistan wanted talks between the foreign secretaries of the two countries, but India knows the real power in Pakistan is held by the Pakistan Army, and India wants to hold the Pakistan Army accountable to whatever is happening along the 778-kilometer long line of control, whether it's the ceasefire violations that started in January this year with the beheading of two Jawans in the Mender sector, or the latest Keren sector incident that took place, or the Samba sector encounter. 250 violations of ceasefire cannot happen unless the Pakistan Army is complicit. And in this meeting that took place between General Vinod Bhatia and Major General Amir of the Pakistan Army, Amir Riaz, India has made it extremely clear that Pakistan has to ensure that sanctity of the ceasefire remains along the line of control. India has given evidence of how Pakistan Army is complicit in what is happening from the staging camps where terrorists are kept before they are launched across the line of control, and not just in one sector. It's not just limited to Kale, it's not just limited to north of Pir Panjal, but both north and south of Pir Panjal. This was a meeting where there was one Lieutenant General from the Indian side, one Major General from the Pakistani side. That's the two DGMOs. Apart from that, one Brigadier, three Lieutenant Colonels, giving evidence of Pakistan's complicity and holding Pakistan accountable for what is happening, and telling them that if sanctity of line of control has to be maintained, Pakistan Army has to ensure that.
Gaurav and Manaman, thank you so much for joining us on that developing story.